Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 5 of this podcast. This week we are talking all about Black influence on fashion and what cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation is. A lot of today's fashion is influenced from so many different cultures and in so many different ways that are hidden in plain sight that most consumers don't even realize what is influenced from such cultures. Besides the obvious hairstyles, there are also many pieces of everyday fashion that everyday consumers wear without even realizing their history. To name a few, gold hoop jewelry, sneakers, streetwear, designer brands with monogram print, lettuce hem, all of which are stemmed from Black culture. If I'm being honest, I myself did not know that a lot of the common fashion that is trendy today, that I also do wear, stems from Black culture. And I'm not talking necessarily something that you would see in a culture such as a sarong or a kimono, not necessarily historic pieces of fashion that are heavily embedded into a culture. I'm talking things that are worn on an everyday basis that people don't normally associate with a specific culture. As we get started today, I'm going to be pulling some facts from a Bricks magazine article by Nadia Lee Cohen via Vogue Italia called The Brief History of Trends That Originated from Black Communities, and how the original trend and culture started and how it collaborates with today's fashion. I'm also recommending an Instagram account called Diet Prada. Diet Prada is mentioned in this article, but I actually have also followed that Instagram account for a very long time. Basically, the creator takes high fashion moments from designers and relates it to culturally insensitive things that they are blind to. They have called out brands for using Black hairstyles on non-Black models, not acknowledging or crediting the culture behind such hairstyles, and similar callouts like that throughout the fashion industry. To begin my interviews, I first spoke with a fellow peer of mine from Kennesaw State University, where her and I talked about fashion on a consumer basis.
My name is Taylor Martin, and I'm a senior journalism and emerging media major at Kennesaw State University. I would say that Black fashion has influenced the industry really mainly in streetwear. And as far as red carpet styles go, I see a lot of celebrities have taken really on the styles of Black rappers, like from the 90s. I really see a lot of 90s style coming back that a lot of Black rappers used to wear. Cultural appropriation in regards to fashion is when you are wearing a style that was created or made popular by a Black person without giving credit or understanding the meaning behind that specific style. I would say a modern day example would be maybe somebody like Kim Kardashian, somebody of very high influence, creating a style of their own or a duplicate style that a Black creator has already made that came from their creativity, but all Kim Kardashian did was take it and put her name on it, which it now has become popularized, and then it diminishes the sales and the creative force that the Black person who originally came up with that style has. And the issue with that is it is already diminishing Black history and Black culture as it regards to fashion. And in other senses, if you were to wear something like a white person were to wear something as an African kente cloth, and they just wear it because it's colorful, they think it's cute, but they don't understand the meaning behind it. That is also cultural appropriation. It's inconsiderate of the culture. It could be in some ways disrespectful if you don't take the time out to understand why that probably isn't the best choice for you to wear that specific type of fabric.
My conversation with Taylor really helped me understand what viewing fashion and its influences has done to a regular consumer, and as someone who is in the Black community and how they view those everyday errors. So next I wanted to talk to a professor, Yen Rodriguez, who could help me understand what appreciating a culture is versus appropriating a culture was.
So my name is Yen Rodriguez. I am an instructor of interdisciplinary studies at Kennesaw State University.
Through some of my research regarding, like Black American fashion influence on maybe more of a modern age has been streetwear, incorporating sneakers into high fashion and like big gold jewelry.
When you brought up a good element, though, hang on, before you go there, I want to hang on what you said, sneakers. I think that's a huge example because there was a time when sneakers had a purpose. The purpose was, walking or running, shoes, athletic, kind of, not even wear, just kind of more gear than necessarily wear. And then, it kind of crossed over into, more mainstream, but still very informal.
So can you tell me what cultural appropriation is versus what cultural appreciation is?
And it's a fine line. Mm-hmm. There is a very, very fine line, and sometimes, that line is blurry. The way that I see things, participating in a culture that is not one's own, even learning about it and participating in it. So we're talking about even language and music and design and style of quote, what have you, right? That's an appreciation of it, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And especially when there's a genuine, what's the word I'm looking for? Let me not say there's a genuine. When it's genuine, when it's not like, someone that just is a passerby that, takes an appreciation to this culture and then makes it their own unique style or their own unique what have you. That's different. But then appropriation is an individual that previously, in my opinion, has no knowledge, or maybe knowledge, but no real genuine attachment to a culture, and then takes that culture not only to make it their own image, but then also to profit from it.
Yen enlightened me about how a majority of people who appropriate a culture tend to not accredit or understand the rich culture behind pieces, whether that be in fashion and in art. And really, when people take the effort to educate, to learn, to have those uncomfortable situations, it really furthermore enriches those cultures and makes them more present and reflected and have representation in everyday things, not just in fashion.
Gotta walk that fine line. I mean, we have to try our best to walk it right, but we have to walk it because we have to appreciate. If we don't appreciate, we'll never break these barriers down. And that's across the board. Fashion, music, language, culture, values. If we don't get to a level of appreciation, we'll never break these barriers down. Absolutely. It's like, you have, one preconceived notions about, individuals, about demographics are only breaking down when you get a chance to have that connection.
On that note, I encourage all of you to do your research, figure out what styles that you embrace on an everyday basis, figure out their history, figure out their culture, and honor said culture instead of just taking it and creating your own ideas from it. If you stem your fashion sense, your lifestyle, your ideas from a different culture, please make sure to honor that and appreciate that culture in order to become more and more connected with it, to create more and more representation. I know this podcast is a little bit longer than the others that I've had so far, but I just felt that these points from Yen and from Taylor were so important that they just had to be shared. But I encourage you all to read the article and follow Diet Prada if you are interested in it, and I will see you at the next podcast.